Hi guys, happy Homebrew Wednesday for January 15th, 2014. Gonna pop open one of the ciders to see how it's carbonated. It's been about 3.5 weeks, so a little bit of a pop there, a little smoke. It's got some carbonation for sure. It's definitely got some carbonation going on. So we'll go ahead and give that a taste. Definitely can smell the apple. A little bit of cinnamon. It's well carbonated. Definitely can taste the apples and the cinnamon. It's a little bit bitter. A little bit more bitter than I'd like. But definitely it turned out good. So we'll give that another go. So I had a little bit of a brew day this week. Did some apple raspberry wine from concentrate. So I'll go ahead and show you the footage on that. Hi guys. So today we're going to do an apple raspberry wine. We're going to use this apple raspberry juice here. We need 12 cans of this. I'm going to go ahead and get everything sanitized up and ready to go, and we'll be right back. Got everything sanitized. I got 2 cups of hot water here. To that we're going to add 2.5 teaspoons of bentonite. I've got all my stuff sanitized here. We're going to add 2.5 teaspoons of this to that. And then we're going to mix that up really well. It's kind of like clay, so you want to make sure you get it mixed up really well. So I'm using a fork to kind of break it up, stir it in there, and as you can see, it turns to like a gray color. This is going to help clarify your wine. So we're going to do this first. Okay, now we got that all mixed up good. We're going to go ahead and dump that in our sanitized bucket here. It's not mixed up too well. It'll all mix up here. Into that, I'm going to add 12 cans of the juice. I'll go ahead and get that in there, and then I'll be right back. Okay, and there's the just the juice in the bucket. And then as you can see, I have all my containers sitting there on the counter. We're going to go ahead and put a couple of cans of water in each one of those just to rinse out the rest of the juice, and we'll dump that into the bucket. As you can see, there's still a bunch of juice in there. We want to get all of that out. So I just take and I fill up the containers. So we got to add water anyway. We might as well add the rest of this juice. And I'll do 2 cans or a can and a half of each one of these just to kind of rinse them out. I'll go ahead and do the rest of those, and I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, there no residue left in the bottom of these containers. All the containers are like that. We're filled up to here. Here's our 5-gallon mark, so we're going to fill it up the rest of the way with warm or cool water to about 4.5 gallons. And then we're going to stir it up real well. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so there's the juice in the water. I've got my stir on the end of my drill here, my sanitized stir. We're going to go ahead and stir that up. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and take a hydrometer reading. See where we're at, see how much sugar we need to add. Okay, we're at 1.050, which is about, I don't know, 7-8% alcohol. So we're going to go ahead and add sugar. The recipe calls for 11 cups of sugar approximately, so I'm going to start out with 8 and then I'll retest it. Okay, so I went ahead and put the 8 cups of sugar in. I'm going to go ahead and stir that up now. Make sure you get it mixed up really well, and then we'll take another hydrometer reading. So we're at 1.80 on this particular batch. I would like it to be around 1.09 to 1.095. So I'm going to add a couple more cups of sugar and retest. When I get it back where I want it to be, I'll be right back. Okay, so we're at 1.092 now. That's right exactly where I wanted it, and I ended up using 11 cups of sugar, so my recipe was right on. Okay, so now we got that done. We're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of potassium metabisulfite. This is just to kill any bad stuff that's in there, if there's anything in there. So add that in there. And then we're going to add 3 teaspoons of yeast nutrient. Go ahead and dump that on the top there. We'll have to get a little more of that. And then 3 teaspoons of pectic enzyme. This helps break down the fruit and stuff so it can ferment. And we'll add 3 teaspoons of that. And I'm going to add a little more yeast nutrient in there. Okay, now we're going to mix all that in really well. Okay, and now we're just going to let that sit for 12 to 24 hours. We'll just let it sit until in the morning, and then we'll sprinkle our yeast on it, so we'll see you in the morning. Oh, and one other thing, you'll want to cover this up with a towel, just so nothing can get in there, a towel or some cheesecloth or something, to keep anything from getting in it. Okay, I've moved it into the brew room, and as you can see, I just put a towel over the top of it. And we'll let that sit until in the morning, and then we'll pitch our yeast. Okay, so it's been about 18 hours since we started our apple raspberry. We're going to go ahead and uncover it. And it's ready to pitch the yeast. So for this batch, I've done a Red Star champagne yeast. Go ahead and I just started this according to the package instructions. As you can see, it's going pretty good. And we're just going to dump it in there. We'll cover it back up, and then I'll come back in 12 hours or so and show you what it's doing. The apple raspberry fermenting, I don't know if you can see that, but you can see all the bubbles coming up and popping. Okay, so here's our apple raspberry wine. It's been sitting now for 7 days. I took a hydrometer reading and we're at 1.018. So we're going to go ahead and rack that into a carboy now. Okay, so we got the carboy sanitized, our racking canes all sanitized. So we're ready to go. We'll just start pumping that in there. And we'll just let that fill up. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the lees on the bottom of this to start our skeeter pea. So that'll be in another video though. So we'll just continue to rack this until it's filled up and then we'll go from there. Okay, so here's our apple raspberry in the brew room. We're just going to cover it up with a box here. Let it sit for a month or so and then we'll check back on it. So we'll keep you updated on that one. Okay guys, so there you have it. That should turn out alright. That's my second batch of that kind, so we'll keep you updated on it. This, however, has turned out really well. I'm definitely going to be doing a batch of this soon. Anyway, I'd just like to thank all my subscribers. I know I don't thank you guys enough. Thanks for liking and subscribing to my channel. And that's about all I have this week. So happy Homebrew Wednesday and cheers.